OCO people, OCO. We're gonna get into this video today. It's a reaction video. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about it.
Protection under your own right, and the government also guarantees.
Let's get back into it.
Under your own right, and the government also guarantees this protection as your right. In the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, where it says, quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and guarantees the protection of an individual to assemble. For example, a protest against some government policy, or the protection against any government interference with an individual assembling their own place of worship, or maybe even to speak freely at their own public or private conference. And while that's all true, it does, however, extend to a greater measure and degree when it comes to fundamental human rights. We can all agree that the words of the English language carry double or more meanings. So when it comes to the words utilized throughout the U.S. Constitution, there is no exception. So where the First Amendment states peaceably to assemble, the word peaceably can be interpreted by the mind relating to being nonviolent. And that's true, but it also carries a legal meaning, which is having the right or freedom to associate. The tranquility enjoyed by a political society internally by the good order which reigns amongst its members, and externally by the good understanding it has with all other nations. Now, that may ring a bell with some of you who are familiar with hearing the term freedom of association, which is normally used interchangeably with freedom of assembly, indicating that they are in fact one and the same. More about that in a moment. The First Amendment states that, quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the right of the people peaceably to assemble, which also indicates that the right of the people is such a basic human right that constitutionally any government is forbidden from trespassing your choice of association. Or, in other words, you reserve the right to be associated with any corporation, society, organization, or government as you please, and any other said government cannot interfere. This very point is also echoed in the definition of constitutional liberty or freedom in the Black's Law Dictionary, stating,
Y'all get that? So this is why you have people that'll choose Republican Party or Democrat Party or to be independent. This is why you have people that do journalism and stuff like that, because of the freedom of association. You know, the freedom of assembly. It goes hand in hand. Let's keep cooking.
That a government is nothing more than an organization, and Congress.
The government is nothing more than an organization. But I knew that. I've been knowing that for years. Some of y'all probably didn't know that. Well, now you know. Let's keep cooking.
Of a considerable number of persons at the same place. Also, the persons so gathered. Popular assemblies are those where the people.
All right. In the Constitution and in government, this is what assembly is supposed to mean by law. The concourse or meeting, the concourse or meeting together of a considerable number of persons at the same place. Also, the persons so gathered. Popular assemblies are those where the people meet to deliberate upon their rights. These are guaranteed by the Constitution. Black's Law Dictionary, 1856. And this is why you see people protesting, because they have a right to assembly under the Constitution. The government cannot stop this. It is basically inedible. You can protest anytime you want, but they will try to, regulate how you protest, stuff like that. This is why you see, protesting around election time. All these protestings and shit like that. So that's what the Assembly of Law provides concerning the Black Laws Dictionary, 1856. Let's keep cooking.
In hopes that we may correct this nail-biting major issue amongst ourselves as one whole community. Ever since the 1960s, our people were slowly adopting the historically derogatory term Black as a descriptive means that...
Y'all heard that? They say around this time, 1960s, we've been adopting a derogatory term called Black. Interesting. We never were a black people. We never called ourselves black up until Stokely Carmichael came to us as a politician, one of our own brothers, came to us as a politician to play on our emotions, to get us to accept this derogatory term, Black. And this is where we get Black from today, because of a dumbass brother, one of ours, named Stokely Carmichael, was a politician. It was during the time Malcolm X. It was during the time of Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement and all that, so on and so on. So you could thank Stokely Carmichael for helping the Boule fuck our identity up, right along with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all these motherfucking traitors that didn't give a fuck about our own heritage, our identity, our culture. They sold us out, and they did not stand and fight. Yeah, let's cook. Let's keep cooking.
Welcome to the world's first real battle royale. Players must undergo surgery in order to play.
I give you cybernetic combat limbs. Set you loose.
The old saying around this time period that is still popularized in use today was to never trust a stranger. But of course, we can all see that school teachers and college professors are somehow an exception from this general rule.
Yeah, I remember growing up, my mom used to tell me, my sister, and my brother, don't y'all go outside talking to strangers. Don't y'all go outside, being around strangers, stay on the porch, things like that. But then she was sending us to this school to be around strangers, to learn from strangers, to learn from people that didn't look like us, didn't understand us. Learning this education that had nothing to do with who the fuck we were as a people of color. But let's keep cooking.
To prevent this major issue from reoccurring, we must swallow the pills of truth, no matter how difficult it may be for some to do so, by debunking the various pseudo-theories surrounding our identities that
And what that means when he said debunking pseudo theories, which means we supposed to be from Africa. Our ancestors are from Africa. When our ancestors are not from Africa, never were from Africa, and we never were Africans. So to debunk that theory, we must eliminate that process of thinking that we are African Americans. When we not African Americans, we never was African Americans. We don't speak African language. We do not know African culture other than real Africans that's from that country, that live that culture, that know the language, that grew up in it. Those are the real Africans. They come here to America to get citizenship, and then they become African Americans. You cannot possibly be an African if you wasn't born on the continent of Africa. Let's keep cooking.
Ever since I created my channel and brought the truth to the public's attention, people who have been heavily invested in capitalizing on our people's ignorance concerning their true identities have created various slander campaigns against me in hopes that I'll fade away or shut up or even join them or assist them by keeping our people in the dark and get paid for doing so.
And that's what a lot of these government officials do when they know that we have truth about our history, when they know that we have facts and proof about our past and things they've done to us, to take what we've been had since birthright. They hire people to miscue, to manipulate, and to distort our history. And that's a fact. That is a fact. You have media that hire certain so-called Black Americans to sit there and denounce our past and everything these white folk had done for us, like your CNN anchors, your Black CNN anchors that are Democrat. They sit there and they denounce what we went through under this foreign regime called the U.S. government. They sit here and say we not in slavery, we never been through this, we never been through that. It's just all in your mind. But then how we get to where we are today? Who put us in this position? Who are the people behind the shadows calling the shots to erase our history and heritage and culture? To tell us we came on a slave ship, to tell us we were slaves, to tell us we are from Africa, but we don't know shit about Africa. We ain't learning about Africa. You know, just something to make you think. But let's keep cooking. You know, and this is the kind of psychological games they play on us. Reverse psychology is a persuasive technique that involves getting someone to engage in the desired action of response by suggesting the opposite. Let me say that again. Reverse psychology is a persuasive technique that involves getting someone to engage in a desired action or response by suggesting the opposite. Which means if somebody can get you to believe in a lie, they'll use reverse psychology to persuade you to believe that lie. And that's what we have every day, year in, year out, year in and year out, month after month, day after day. We have this done to us through media, through our school system, through the justice system, and so on and so on. Let's keep cooking.
To Mother Africa. That's bullshit. You do not know a goddamn thing about Africa.
The word?
And you see in movies, they was putting the truth in there little bit by little bit. Like this guy in this movie clip said, "You are not from Africa." You see what I'm saying? I just wanted y'all to just know that right there. But this guy right here named Dr. Umar Johnson is a Pan-Africanist, which means he studied African religion and culture. And he tried to connect himself to it, but he don't have a connection. He don't understand African culture. He don't even speak African. This guy right here on the screen named Dr. Umar Johnson, he don't speak African, but he want to teach you about Africanism. But he himself is not an African. The fuck out of here. See, this is the type of bullshit that our people have been manipulated with, and we all believe that we are from Africa somehow. But let's keep cooking.
Along the Mediterranean Sea, these Afri people of ancient Carthage were historically known to be of pale-skinned complexions, adopting much of...
Alright, these are the Afri people. They white European-looking people. They mainly come from the country of Tunisia. And even today, they make up 85% of Tunisia's population. Meaning they are white people called the Afri people. Let's keep cooking. So if you think you're African, these will be your forefathers. These will be your ancestors, these white people. If you out here calling yourself African American or African period, these white people that are from Tunisia would be your ancestors because these are the Afri people. Afri, however you want to pronounce it.
Large groups of these Africans migrated to the southernmost regions of Ethiopia during the wars, and even today they refer to themselves as Afrikaners, paying tribute to their ancestors of Carthage, along with other roaming European landmasses like the Netherlands. And their Dutch-inspired native language is called Afrikaans, which was brought to the southernmost regions of what Americans call South Africa today by way of Protestant settlers of the 17th century.
Y'all catch that? Protestant settlers of the 17th century. These people invaded the shores of this continent and named it Africa. Once they conquered it, they named it Africa because they are the Afri people of Carthage from Tunisia. They are European-centric, white, pale-skinned looking people. You will mistake them as a white Caucasian person if you look at them today. Let's keep cooking. This is what they won't tell you in these schools because this hides who they really are. Because when they came and conquered our lands over here, conquered our ancestors over here in this country, in this kingdom, they used an identity called Americans. So it all makes sense now. If these are the Afrikaans people, understand why they would name a new world that they ain't never seen after they conquered it, American or American. See the wordplay? It'll trick you if you ain't paying attention. These the same people. Let's keep cooking.
To believe that our people came off of so-called slave ships from Africa because they will continue to expand their foreign empire right here on our true motherland, right up under our noses, literally banking billions off of our people's ignorance about who they truly are.
And see, our thing is, we gotta stop the whitewashing education. That's what we should be standing up and fighting for. The whitewashing of our history and of our heritage and of our ancestors. Don't you know just about every image of our indigenous ancestors, they made them look white looking. They made them look pale skinned, white looking. Therefore, whitewashing our past and our heritage to make us believe that they are our ancestors, that we should respect them at all times for life, for even having life. This is bullshit whitewashing education. They have this in the United States school system today and around the world. This is how these white folks are conquering cultures and identities, because these people are the identity thieves. They are the culture vultures. Y'all need to stop thinking that white people are our friends. They are our enemies by far. Any nation that have European skin and European features, they are our enemies. They are the offsprings of these European folk. Know that. Understand that. We need to put a stop to the whitewashing of our history, period, and stop allowing our brainwashed brothers and sisters to continue to further smear our ancestors and our past as if it was nothing to be remembered or to be respected. Let's keep cooking.
He goes way deep into this shit.
Relax and take notes.
It's Dane Calloway on I'm Just Here to Make You Think Radio. Produced by Dane Calloway and Tanisha Calloway. Watch this brand new documentary, Mother Rosa, right now at DaneMakeYouThink.com.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now today I want to briefly go over some very essential information concerning this topic at hand. And before I do so, I would like to state a few predominantly powerful and yet relevant quotes. And they are, people are trapped in history, and history is trapped in them. James Baldwin. A people without the...
Y'all heard that? James Baldwin quoted, people are trapped in history, and history are trapped in them. And this is another quote. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Man, y'all understand what that just said right there. Y'all pay attention to that right there. Let me quote that again. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. And that's exactly how we are to this day. We are people without roots because we have no knowledge of our past history, origin, and culture. We care not to even know about it. Most of us don't even care about it. Most of us know about it and won't even give a damn about it. won't even try to figure out what took place, what happened to our people, how would they thrive in, what kind of civilization we had, and the ones that do know, we are being shut up. We're not being heard. We're not at the forefront of this conversation. We being told, oh man, you live in the past. You need to come to the future. This is what's going on now. But how the fuck can we understand what's going on now if we don't understand what happened in the past? If we don't have no root to our tree, we just a rotten motherfucking tree. So, yeah, let's keep cooking.
Quietly. That's merely a form of submission to authority in order to decimate literacy, a diabolical mind trick that governs you and misleads you directly into weakness. Why? Well, you were taught to listen and follow directions and be sure to hold all questions. The teachers inform you to only ask the quote.
Y'all remember that in school? We had to follow directions. We had to walk in a single line formation. We had to listen to these strangers that wasn't our parents. We don't know who the fuck these people is. We don't know where they come from, why they here. But we as kids are being told. We as children are being told. We as teenagers, all the way up until adult years, are being told follow directions by your teacher. So whatever your teacher had wanted you to follow directions on, you had to. You see what I'm saying? Our parents wasn't by our side. They wasn't coming to the schools. They wasn't learning what we were learning. They wasn't understanding this education they was putting up on our minds as young, black, needy, indigenous children. Because we were not Africans. We are a stolen people. And this is the evidence that this guy right here on this video is putting out there. We really were a stolen people in so many words. But let's keep cooking. Y'all, and you know what? If that ain't enough for y'all to stand up and fight this government for, then you know what? Ain't no sense in complaining about what you ain't getting. Ain't no sense in complaining about the laws and how it affect you as a so-called colored person, so-called black person. Ain't no sense in complaining if you ain't one of the ones like me trying to raise the voices up and help, get this information out there so we can wake the fuck up and stand up for what been taken from us for centuries and centuries and years, then y'all don't deserve to be a free people. So to hell with your comments, to hell with what you got to say about me in my reaction video, because this right here will free a lot of people. This information right here will liberate a lot of people. This right here will help you understand the government for what it really is. But let's keep cooking.
Of these sailboats that allegedly carried thousands of enslaved Africans from West Africa to America was made? To elaborate on that note, mind you, if the colonizationalists carried over thousands of enslaved Africans on a sailboat, how did the captain and his crew survive? I mean, where was the room on these sailboats that they needed for their food supplies to last them all for months at a time while trapped?
Right. That's interesting to know. See, we never really thought about that part. Like, how the hell you pack all these motherfuckers up in the boat like sardines? You ain't got nowhere to store food. You ain't got nowhere to store toiletry, hygiene products. You ain't got nowhere to put nothing there but bodies. Stinking, unbathed, musty, but dusty to be damn funk bodies on the ship, and you mean to tell me y'all went across seas for months at a time with no food, no water, no nothing? Yeah, that right there don't even make sense. So how the hell could they get that past us? But see, when you kids, when you a child, you don't really, and they teaching you what they want to teach you, you're not really learning the truth, because that does make sense. That's a point right there. How the hell could you ship thousands and thousands and thousands of people across these fucking waters, and you ain't got nowhere to put food, or if you had medicine, if people got sick, you ain't got no quarter to dock a doctor on your ship? Because a trip like this would need a doctor to travel along with. Somebody with a PhD degree that know how to, heal people in case somebody gets sick. Even the captain, even the ship workers. If they get sick, what the fuck happens? If they get hungry, how do they eat? If they got to use the bathroom, how do they dispose of their bodily waste? It's a lot of things that's missing in that type of story right there. In the out of the outer African theory story, it's a lot of things that are missing that just don't line up with us coming from Africa. So with that said, let's keep cooking.
And immediately open up businesses with no problem. You'll see them owning businesses in so-called black communities.
All right, these right here are Africans. If Africans were slaves, how the hell do they get to own businesses when they come over here? They own hair shops, they own restaurants, they own beauty salons, some of them own barbershops, some of them own oil shops where you buy oil and shit, incense and shit. Some of them own clothing shops where you buy their African apparel and dashikis and shit like that. You'll never see them selling shit that we like, selling shit that we accustomed to and that represent our culture. But they'll always sell you their culture and what they accustomed to when you go into their business establishment. These are Africans right here you're looking at on the TV screen. I don't know what part of Africa they from, but these are definitely Africans right here. These are true Africans. True blood Africans right there on that TV. They speak a different language. They know a different culture. They worship a religion that, we don't really know about. They have a tribe. They have a family. They got land. They have a country they can go back home to if they don't want to be over here. All type shit. But what the fuck kind of, how do that connect to us? How do these type people connect to us? These type people ain't never came over here checking for us, looking for us to be their family members, looking for us to be liberated, up out of this oppression. They ain't over here helping us do a goddamn thing. But what they are over here doing is taking our money. You know what I'm saying? Our women, our children. Lying to you. They'll make you think, yeah, you one of us, but really you don't even know them. You know what I'm saying? They don't know you. Don't give a fuck about your life. And one thing I do know about these Africans, if you don't live their culture, they will not respect you, period. They will not live around you if you don't live like they live, period. I had one to tell me this to my face, period. They'll tell you that. They'll say, if you don't live like we live, we don't respect you. We don't really deal with y'all. You can't talk to our women. You can't do nothing unless you got money. Money will change anybody's mind if you got money. But like just talking about dating one of their women or their daughters, oh, hell no. That shit ain't going down. Not if you don't speak Swahili or Somalian or some shit. You know what I'm saying? If you don't speak Zimbabwe, your ass through. You cannot hang in the circle with these people. You can't sit at the same table and eat with these people unless you convert your ways and your lifestyle to how they live. No ifs and buts about it. Let's keep cooking.
1890, when the actual records, in fact, does not exist. The U.S. Census has admitted that somehow the majority of their records of the 1790 census and up to the 1830 census were either lost or destroyed somehow.
Y'all heard that? All of our records from those time dates was destroyed or either lost. Because they don't want us to find out. They don't want us to know what really, you know what I'm saying, the sauce behind they motherfucking bullshit. But let's keep cooking. It's out there, y'all. I'm telling you, these are facts. I done researched it. I done looked this up. And it's all this that this guy, Dan Calloway, is talking about in this video. It's true. Hands down, it's true. I haven't found one thing that was a lie about this guy. And trust me, I've been trying to find exposés on this guy, you know what I'm saying? But I can't, because everything this man is saying is a fact. He done debated people and embarrassed people that try to go up against, you know, his proof and his evidence that he have stating and regarding our ancestors and our history. You cannot deny none of this shit, man. This man's insane. But let's keep cooking.
We have to tell the truth. We cannot heal America until we fix the foundation. Can we start right there?
You heard what Warhawk said? This lady right here on the screen is an actual real indigenous Indian. Her name is Warhawk. And she said we cannot fix what happened to us until we fix the foundation. And that's a fact. I told y'all we still around. I told y'all we still exist. Choctaws, Seminoles, Wichitaws, Chickasaws, and so on and so on. We need to wake the fuck up. This is an elderly woman on this screen. Colored woman. She's not claiming to be African American. She is in her indigenous spirit and in her indigenous culture. Whatever Indian tribe she come from, but I do know her name is Warhawk. That name she been given from her Indian chief because she wants war. She wants to war for our land. She wants to take back what was taken from these motherfucking foreigners, these European and Spanish foreigners. Hands down. Let's keep cooking.
Another race of people's uprising, that individual's race suffers tremendously from generations of historic and modified oppression, partisanship, and manipulation systematically. Now, in today's society of America, the offsprings of the indigenous Nietzsche of Turtle Island are yet still undergoing the effects of these things that I just mentioned. When will this all stop, you ask? Well, once the indigenous Americans becomes cognizant of the differences between truths and facts, then, and only then, will the actual dialogue begin environmentally. See, for you as a person of color in America, there are two definitions of environmental racism. The not so verbally popular factor will be that racism is your environment. Racism is all around you. The other fact.
Think about it. That's a true fact. Racism is our environment because we have our own people being racist against us. They hate to see you. They hate to look at you. They hate what you do. If you If you understand something better than them, then they'll try to undermine that and try to make you look like you some kind of fool. You know what I'm saying? That's racism. You know what I'm saying? Then you got other nations of people like white people, Mexican people, you know, Venezuelan people, Puerto Rican people living amongst us, showing us a lot of hatred and racism, making us believe that they our sisters and brothers, that they the same as us, that they struggle the same struggle that, you know what I'm saying, and we've been through. When all that is racism, that's a lie. We confused. We can never come up out of this confusion that the government has put us in as a nation of indigenous Nietzsche Indian tribes. Let's keep cooking.
He has raised many concerns about this matter ever since the 1980s.
All right, let's get an understanding on this environmental racism. Environmental racism is no accident. Through years of racist, real estate practices, communities of color have been pushed into the undesirable parts of town and unable to move out of polluted neighborhoods, like the ghettos. Like we like to call it the ghetto, the slum, the bricks, the trenches, the hood, so to speak. Y'all don't resonate with that. Y'all don't, you know, y'all can't put the dots to that. Everywhere is drugs and crime is what they're saying right there. When it says pushed into the undesirable parts of town and are unable to move out of polluted neighborhoods. This is why you have a lot of single mothers on welfare, and mainly welfare is just basically putting you in an undesirable part of town, because to be on welfare, to be on government assistance, to be on you know, housing authorities and all that shit, you living in the projects. Hands down. Wanna know how I know? Because I was one of them children that grew up in the projects, in the undesirable part of town. I resonate with this information. That was my upbringing. But let's keep cooking.
Humans dying from any number of hidden poisons lurking throughout the environment. Carson's research and other relatable works forced fears in and grieving anger from particular chemical companies and their affiliated organizations that campaigned to ban the release of her book, Silent Spring, nationwide. Many politicians were involved with quelling her speech and discrediting her character and research as she fought in the courts to get this information out. For example, the former U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Ezra Taft Benson, wrote in a letter to the president at that time, Dwight D. Eisenhower, that because Carson was unmarried despite being physically attractive, she was, quote, probably a communist. Coincidentally, Carson mysteriously died just 2 years after her book was finally released. Now, she was previously battling breast cancer, but she died from complications of an undisclosed respiratory virus in 1964 at the age of just 56. Between the years of 1962 and 1970, millions of people drew their opinions and concerns about these ongoing chemical companies and their poisonous pollutants threatening humanity in North America.
What's going on today? You know, we had that BP spill in our oceans and our waters. We had that poison water up there in Michigan, in Flint, Michigan, when they had a high level of lead in the water up there, and people was, you know, take showers and drinking that shit and was getting sick and dying and having skin reactions, like skin problems. You know, the shit was fucking with their skin because they were bathing in a high level of lead poison water. That ain't too far ago. That was probably about 6-7 years ago when Flint, Michigan had that chemical disaster, and when BP had that chemical spill with the oil and all that shit. Yeah, so they've been putting chemicals in our air, you know, called chemtrails. When they up there with them airplanes and you see them little lines and shit out of nowhere, they spraying chemicals into our air. And that shit is in our air, killing us. You know what I'm saying? They call it chemtrail. Chemtrail, chemical trail. It's a real thing.
Which will prevent or eliminate damage to the environment and biosphere and stimulate the health and welfare of man. And 3, to enrich our understanding of ecological systems and natural resources important to the nation. But what is very important to note here, according to unclassified documents that I requested by way of the Freedom of Information Act, the NEPA of 1969 was created to, quote, ensure federal agencies consider the environmental impacts of their actions and decisions. One more time. The NEPA of 1969 was created to ensure federal agencies consider the environmental impacts of their actions and decisions.
Y'all know what they're saying? That means what they doing to the earth, they better consider the environmental impact of the actions and decisions that they doing to the earth. All this drilling, oil and all that shit, you know, playing with chemicals and shit like that. Yeah. It should have a fucked up reaction if they're not careful with what they're doing to the ecosystem, environmental system. It'll affect a lot of shit, and they know this shit. And they playing with that. They still playing with that. And they think it's not going to have considerable consequences. But let's keep cooking.
By a conscious choice, we transform our land into what we want it to become. Nixon continued this activist theme on February 10th, 1970, when he announced the 37 Environmental Action Program, listen to this, that gives special emphasis to strengthening these federalized programs when dealing with water and air pollution. 2 months after that,
So basically that's Nixon signing in global warming. I mean, just to lay it out there, that's your President Nixon signing into law global warming, and global warming. So when they speak about global warming, this is what they talking about when Nixon signed that into law, into the act when he was in office. So they not trying to end global warming. They trying to increase global warming by playing with the environmental ecosystem. These people really think they God. These white people really think they God. And this is why they gonna self-destruct, because they know not what the fuck they do. These are very ignorant groups of people. They have no intelligence. I don't understand how the fuck they have the power they have today when these are very ignorant and dumbfounded type people. They don't know shit. They get all their resources from other people. They do not have their own. And what they take and conquer, they try to make it their own. Fix it up to be their own. And they still can't get that right. But let's keep killing.
Equity. But wait a minute. When you hear the word equity, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Money, value, rights, ownership. But we all know that equity can mean fairness as well, so let's see which definition they are using by the depictions of their direct actions. From the early 1970s to the mid-1990s, nearly all communities where people of color resided struggled with standing against the forced placement of toxic waste plants and other polluting facilities close to their neighborhoods. For example, in a 1982 Washington Post article, the term environmental racism was used when so-called African American protesters captured the national media attention by launching mass demonstrations.
See, this was our problem right here. It was our first mistake, protesting this shit. We shouldn't be protesting. We should be killing and fighting for our right to live and to be healthy and to be a free people. This protest shit is not for us. We don't pose to protest. We pose to motherfucking fight, spill blood for our motherfucking freedom to be healthy, to be a sovereign nation of people. Period. I ain't with this protesting shit. I never gave a damn, and I never understood why people would protest when the government is inflicting life-threatening harm on us year in and year out. When the fuck are we gonna stop protesting and screaming and shouting and start picking up our motherfucking assault rifles and putting 7.62s on their ass, 9mm and 40 calibers on their ass? But you know, that's another conversation. Let's keep good.
And the list goes on and on and on. During the early part of the year of 1994, many indigenous community leaders pressured then President Bill Clinton to sign an executive order on the term environmental injustice, which required all federal agencies to, quote, make achieving environmental justice part of its mission by addressing, as appropriate, disproportionately high adverse human health or environmental effects of its
Man, let's get an understanding. For y'all that probably ain't understanding what this guy's saying. President Bill Clinton signed a bill into law called the Environmental Injustice Act, which within this bill is to make achieving environmental justice part of its mission by addressing as appropriate disproportionately high and adverse human health or environmental effect of its program, policies, and activities on minority populations and low-income populations. Let me read that again so y'all can better understand this shit. This is not good. This was your president, Bill Clinton, that y'all respect so motherfucking much. Y'all calling this nigga the first black president and all this bullshit. But look at what your first black president put into your environment as minority people. Make achieving environmental justice part of its mission by addressing as appropriate disproportionately high and adverse human health or environmental effect of its program, policies, and activities on minority populations and low-income populations. Which means they could give you bad motherfucking food, which means your grocery store that is in your district is not getting the same healthy food that the grocery store in the white and upscale community is getting. Think about that. That means they was killing us from the start through our environment. Abandoning everything that can make our environment healthy, they abandoned that shit. So if we had toxic fumes coming from somewhere, they wouldn't give a fuck. But let it be in their community, oh, they'll fix that problem. Our roads and streets got motherfucking potholes and need to be rebuilt and repaved. They wouldn't give a fuck. But if it was in their community, oh man, they should be looking nice and pristine and all perfect and shit. This is what this is saying. They didn't give a fuck about our community. They basically put trash on top of us while calling us trash. Fuck out of here. Let's continue.
Keep that in mind. Now, on the other side of this coin are 13 rings, which are chain linked perfectly together to represent the 13 states, with the phrase, "We are one," displayed directly in the middle. Now, from a quick glance, this may seem like your average coin, which happens to provide a few words of motivation. However, the engraved images and phrases found on this coin all have a double meaning. What I mean by that is, it initially served as a hidden form of communication that only a small group of elites were cognizant of its actual meaning at that time, in which it depicted a start of a particular prominent timeline, while also carrying along a much darker hidden agenda that details more untold historic information concerning the so-called copper-colored people in America. For example, the word Fugio is a Latin word that means I fly or flee. But with more distinctive researching, you'll soon discover that the word Fugio derived from yet another Latin word called fugere, which means to drive away or to make flee. In other words, the word Fugio literally means to make something disappear. Now, as we go further along throughout this timeline,
that's exactly what the fuck these Spanish folk did. They made us disappear. They making us disappear. Our history, our identity, everything known to us as a nation of people, they trying to make that disappear, i.e. Fugio.
1851 to 1863 had a change of heart and switched to the Republican Party, allegedly due to the signing of the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854. But what's very odd about that is that Grow was the sole author and creator of the Homestead Act of 1862, in which the Kansas-Nebraska Act served as its precursor, with multiple southeastern copper-colored indigenous nations being removed from the lands of Kansas and Nebraska, along with other lands of the West. Now, keep in mind that these exact same native tribes or nations were forcefully immigrated with an E to lands west of the Mississippi River and into Kansas and Nebraska, for example, due to the Indian Removal Act of 1830.
Y'all look that up. If y'all really care to know all this good information, y'all look it up, called the Indian Act of 1880, I think. I don't think I'll go back. 1880.
Areas that they called plantations. On the other hand, white settlers who were still immigrating to North America were treated benevolently and given these lands and farms that were literally stolen from our indigenous ancestors. This was also...
Heard that? That's how they created plantations. When they illegally stole our ancestors' land, they planted themselves on our land, thus for calling it a plantation, which means these foreign people came and stole our land, planted their asses on our land, i.e. plantation. So understand the whole concept of what a plantation is. Let's keep cooking.
1986, during the same time that Galusha Grow had his change of heart that I mentioned earlier, and also during the same time that he began formulating the homestead legislation, which was essentially passed and signed into law by then President Abraham Lincoln in 1862. Now, the very next copper coin that was minted just 2 years later was the Indian head cent in 1858. The Indian head cent became immensely popular during this time period amongst the white immigrants for a very particular reason. And what is this reason, you ask? Well, again, it is more so pertaining to what this copper coin depicts. See, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia's chief engraver, by the name of James Barton Longacre, enrolled and participated in a competition for the design of the next planned copper cent before becoming the chief engraver during the year of 1835. All participants of this contest were made aware that a dozen Indian chiefs will soon be visiting the President of the Union, or rather the United States, in hopes to make peace and come to the agreement of sharing their Indian territories with the already unwelcomed incoming white colonizationalists.
Now you see that? That was the first form of treaty right there. This is why these people are a thorn in our motherfucking side. This is why these people are doing what they doing to our land, because when they got these chiefs to come and reconcile for peace, because there was so much war. I'm talking about war, people dying every day, unstoppable war. The white folks got tired of dying. The white folks got tired of getting killed. And so our Indian leaders at that time probably saw good that it was time to end battle. And so they tried to find another way to reconcile. Whatever that probably was back in that time, it's showing and is an effect to us to this day. Let's keep cooking.
Who immigrated from many parts of Europe and Africa to North America, even throughout this particular time period. These newly established treaties also made it clear that the Indians would be left alone to live their lives peacefully on their own lands. But these very same treaties were immediately broken, as well as the promise to honor the indigenous aboriginals with their image as the design to this particular...
See, we were supposed to had our land, we were supposed to retain our land, we were supposed to retain our identity and culture. You see this statue right here on this TV? That's a Negro woman. That's an Indian. She's dark-skinned, but it's a statue. There was a statue of them supposed to give us a token of the treaties our ancestors made, but they went behind our back and stole our land. We never gave them our land. We never told them that they can take our land. But once they started murdering our chiefs, they started taking our land. Once they got signatures and shit. You know, when they got signatures and they understood that these chiefs didn't understand what they were signing, Oh yeah, they took advantage. And this is how they are the way they are today. So the real reservations that they have, we not even on our reservations. They got another people on the reservations pretending to be us. And then what you would call your Mexican folk down in Oklahoma and places like that, Nevada and motherfucking Arizona, all these fake ass motherfucking tribal people that they never was and that don't have no claim to our land other than what the government has established and put forth to take our shit. Let's keep cooking.
As the penny. On the front side of this coin, there is an engraved alleged image of Abraham Lincoln facing towards the right direction, and the back side has an engraved phrase, E pluribus unum, which translates from Latin to English as out of many, now one. Also, keep that in mind. This Lincoln cent coin, which is worth exactly 1/100th of a dollar, has been minted since the year of 1909 and beyond. It was said that this penny is to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. But of course, this story was created just to cover up its actual hidden message that is being blatantly displayed throughout the creation of this coin.
See, they try to cover up and make it seem like it commemorates Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Nah, that represents the 100th year of them having control of our land and, just straight up, disrespecting the shit out of us. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like, if y'all don't understand what y'all watching in this reaction video, man, look, it's okay. I'm not tripping. But this video is made for those people that really trying to understand what the fuck the government is going on and what the fuck is going on with us as so-called black people. If y'all want to know the truth, here it is right here in a nutshell. All you got to do is open your understanding. Give some time to this shit because this is a lengthy video. I'm about to end it, after I get enough important information in there. I'm going to end this, because this is a lengthy video. It's actually a live stream, so there's no actual end time to this. And I'm not finna sit here and, all day with this because I do have other things to do. But this is one of my passions. I do enjoy doing this. This is, something that I appreciate doing. So I don't mind. But at the same time, I just don't have all day and night to just do this. Because I don't know when this live stream ends. I don't know how long he did this for. But I appreciate this guy a lot. Because doing the research on my own is a lot easier to use him as a guide because he really simplify everything. Like he simplify everything. He explained everything to a point to where the audience can really understand this and get this information and try to, use this up against the government and put this in their face because we have been lied to, y'all. We are stolen people. We not criminals. We not this. We not that and the third like they try to put us out there to be. But we are stolen people for sure. And we are held against our will under a government that is not our own. So with that said, I'm going to play this out. We're going to get some more important information in this. We're going to, cook for a little while longer. And then I'm going to end this reaction video. And we're going to roll with that. Let's keep cooking, though.
At Applejack, you'll spot winter lager seekers, fine wine peepers, fancy gifters, and small batch sippers. With over 15,000 options, there's an aisle for
words. Don't forget what you are here for, in which Franklin's image is purposely printed on the $100 bill, being held as the highest denomination of value ever in our economic currency.
See, with these European white people, that quote by Benjamin with that quote by Benjamin Franklin, when he said, "Don't forget what you're here for," these white people understand what that means, but we don't. They know what that means coming from him because he's one of them. He knew the mission. He understood what was up at stake, and he wanted to remind all of his other colleagues to don't forget what you're here for. That's why he's on the face of $100 bill, because that commemoration of Abraham Lincoln's birthday marks the 100th year of them having control of a land that's not theirs. Having control of a people that's not theirs. You know what I'm saying? That's why they have created the so-called $100 bill, because that was the 100-year mark of this foreign government being here on our land, doing what the fuck they doing against the law, and everything is basically illegal because the laws and shit that they coming with is not of our people. It never have been of our people. It's a different government from our government. It's a different way of life from our lives, and it's a different way of law of the land from the laws of the land our ancestors had in place for us as the tribal nations. So don't get it twisted. You know, don't watch this video and get shit twisted, because, you know, it's a double side to everything when you doing research. So just, you know, understand what I'm trying to put out here to the world, you know, to see that the government is a criminal organization. They are fraudulent people, and they basically getting wealthy, and they you know, basically living off the backs of people that they stole land from. And that's basically all it is. Let's keep cooking.
Of this world, to be allowed to be. And I yearn through the blood of this people that black isn't beautiful. It isn't ugly. It isn't kinky hair. It isn't straight hair. Black is just black.
And I agree with her. I agree with this movie clip right here. See, they've been putting truth in these movies through our actors, through our so-called indigenous Nietzsche actors for years. They've been putting small pieces of, you know what I'm saying, truth. This lady told this other lady, black isn't beautiful. Black is not kinky hair. Black is just black. Because black is nothing. Black don't have an identity. Black is just black. It's dark. It's darkness with no light. You know what I'm saying? So how could we be calling ourselves something that has no fucking meaning or sentimental fucking value or identity to? Like, we calling ourselves black for what? To be what? For what? Let's keep cooking.
By design. But I would like for you to note that the actual quality of your life is based on the quality of the questions you ask. The so-called African Americans of today's society are yet still struggling to come to grips with their true identities, cultures, heritage, and especially their actual history.
Y'all heard that? That's a fact. If you are called an African American in today's time, that right there, what that man just said, is talking about you, brother. It's talking about you, sister. It's talking about you, young one. Let's keep cooking.
To go to their graves with a very strong belief in this falsified information. See, this is...
And know that too. That's another fact. They want us to go to our graves with falsified information about ourselves, about our own fucking culture and history and heritage. These people are literally playing in our fucking faces, watching us go to our graves with falsified identities and falsified cultures, falsified histories, and some more falsified shit. If that's not enough to piss y'all off, man, I don't know what the fuck to say. If that's not enough for y'all to go get y'all gun, walk to that motherfucking courthouse and demand some motherfucking truth, and demand your life back, demand your man, I don't know what to say to y'all. Let's keep cooking.
His mother, Henrietta Hart, was an immigrant from Germany, and his father, Herman Herskovich, was an immigrant from Hungary.
Y'all hear that? These are white Caucasian Germans. Immigrants. These were immigrants. Like they holler about today, the immigrant crisis. Oh man, we been had that. We been going through that. This ain't nothing new to us. We been dealing with immigrant crisis. Killers, murderers, mad scientists. Motherfuckers that just want to come over here and just do nothing but fucking evil shit to us as a people. These motherfucking white European Caucasian people have been our enemies since day one. And y'all want to fall in love with these motherfuckers. Y'all want to walk hand in hand with these motherfuckers. Y'all want to swear up and down that y'all the same with these motherfuckers. But okay, keep believing that. Let's keep cooking.
An empire fought against Russia, Italy, France, Japan, Romania.
But I'm gonna let it go right there, y'all. I'm gonna end this video right here. You know, I'm kind of getting worked up. The more I watch this, man, I'm getting worked up because it's this everything that this video have talked about. It resonated with me since a child. I always was confused about who I was, what's my place in this society they call America. You know, why they calling me African American when I'm not African, when I don't even know no African. Why am I being called black when my skin is brown tone, a brown tone feature? Why are people calling themselves black when they don't look black? You know, why we only speak one tongue if we supposed to have this ancient history of Indian culture? Why we don't speak their language? It was just a lot of things as a child growing up that I had a lot of questions about. This video right here, man, I appreciate the great ancestors for my brother Dane Calloway. And that is no motherfucking lie. I appreciate that, brother. Because he helped me understand what the government don't want me to understand. He helped me know what the government don't want me to know. Y'all can make comments. I would love to hear what people got to say. I'm always open to discussion, whether it be, you know, whether it be about this topic or other topics, you know what I'm saying? But I'm always open to discussion, as long as, you know, we respectful and, you know, we respect other people's opinion, you know, and we must speak upon facts and truth. I don't want to hear what a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, think they know, but do real research and come to me with what you have and we'll talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And we'll sort it out. You know? And with that said, love, peace, great rising to the great ancestors. Long live the great ancestors. Long live Chief Tuscaloosa. Wide open.